James Franco is cast as Fidel Castro. Sean Bean has put his foot in his mouth. Prey is the most watched premiere in Hulu history. Plus, we're saying goodbye to Olivia Newton-John.
It's all coming up right now on The Tape. Hey everyone, and welcome to The Take. I'm Elizabeth Wagmeister.
And I'm Clayton Davis, and we're here to give you our take on some of the week's biggest stories. Good to be back again. Mark Malkin left everything where I put it.
He did, yes. He did not move your mug too far. We had so much fun last week with Mark, but so happy to have you back, Clayton. Now, while you were gone, you wrote an excellent column. It got a ton of attention. Why don't you tell us about it?
One of the big stories of the week was the controversial casting of James Franco as Cuban revolutionary Fidel Castro in an upcoming independent feature, Elena of Cuba. It tells the story of Elena Fernandez, who was the daughter of Fidel Castro. Social media came lighting up, pointing to, once again, another instance in Hollywood of Latino roles and characters being occupied by non-Latino actors. The entertainment business also chimed in, including Colombian actor and performer John Leguizamo and Oscar-winning Cuban producer Phil Lord, all criticizing the move. So, sexual assault allegations aside, right? Because cancel culture, once again, really doing its number on Hollywood. This is so frustrating because what the producers point to in the announcement piece is how they focus on Fidel Castro's Galician heritage in order to justify this role or this choice of choosing James Franco as Fidel Castro. And people were pointing to how much James Franco looks like Fidel Castro. Both those things can be correct. He can look a lot like Fidel Castro, and this can also be a horrible idea. By the way, just to let everyone know, Pedro Pascal, alive and well. He would have made a perfect Fidel Castro.
There's also very talented hair and makeup teams on sets who can make anyone look like anybody.
And it just points to, once again, this erasure of Latinos in the Hollywood business. We have less than 5% of movies with Latino actors still to this day. And until we see true equality across the board, things like this are going to stand out and it's going to upset a lot of people. It was the wrong move.
I'm so glad that you wrote this column. It was beautifully written and incredibly powerful. And those statistics that you bring up, they're just staggering. And it seems like we are having this conversation over and over and over again. If we're not talking about white men, it seems like other communities seem to be underserved. And I hate to be the one to keep saying that. And I know that on Twitter, everyone is going to say, oh, this is a woke conversation, stop attacking white men. It's not. It's just that if we keep having this conversation, it's because there hasn't been enough progress. And I understand that acting is an art and that not everything has to be 100% authentic. But when you have so many actors in Hollywood and so many undiscovered talent, why James Franco, when I'm sure that there is an abundance of Latino actors who would have been great in this role? And yes, you also bring up the point that he did have a number of sexual misconduct allegations brought up against him. He settled a suit. That all happened in 2018. So there's many problems with this. And also, we would be remiss if we didn't mention that this comes off the heels of Batgirl being completely canceled, which starred a Latino woman.
We're going to continue to watch, and hopefully we see some change one day soon.
Speaking of stories that are generating a lot of controversy, Game of Thrones actor Sean Bean really stuck his foot in his mouth this week when he said in an interview that he does not believe that intimacy coordinators are necessary on set because they spoil the spontaneity. He said that by having intimacy coordinators, which by the way are designed to create safe sets during sex scenes that require nudity, he says that it makes it all boil down to a technical scene. No surprise here, women in Hollywood weren't so happy with Sean Bean's remarks. In fact, one of his co-stars, who he mentioned in this interview, she did support him in the sense that she said, he's a fabulous actor and I had a great experience with him on set, but no, I am not up for anything. And yes, intimacy coordinators are there to create a safe space. We also saw Emma Thompson and Rachel Zegler. They both stood up against Sean Bean's comments. And I just think, once again, why? Why are men speaking on issues that primarily target women? It makes no sense. And by the way, actually, intimacy coordinators target everyone. They make everybody on set feel safe. This is a relatively new job in the past decade or so. Yeah. And people on set praise this. They say that when we are in a situation where we have to be nude on set, we want to be able to have someone who makes us feel comfortable.
Permission to please share an opinion here. And this is the fact that Sean Bean is a fabulous actor, very talented. And while he may not take it too far on a set, if he would just look around the room, and by the room, Hollywood room, and see how many instances there have been some very bad behavior on set and how women in this industry can feel unsafe, just thinking about it one extra second, you have to really be specific and articulate what you mean in a situation. I don't think he meant any ill will by it. However, I'm reminded of something, a movie like Last Tango in Paris with Marlon Brando, which now has a reputation of having this horrible sex scene that was improvised in which the woman is nearly assaulted on the set. And it is horrible to see. And we need intimacy coordinators. They are required in this business.
Absolutely. Let's move on to some ratings news. This week, Hulu announced that Prey is its largest premiere ever. This is among all television shows and films on Hulu. Now, Prey is the prequel to Predator, and by Hulu releasing this statistic, this now means that it has surpassed The Kardashians, which I reported a few months ago at the time was the biggest premiere for any series on Hulu. Now, what's interesting about this is obviously this is great news for Prey, and viewership is obviously something to be celebrated, but this isn't like a regular network where they have to actually give numbers. Hulu is applauding the success of Prey, but we don't actually know how many people watched it. Now, in the world of the streaming wars, there's really no rhyme or reason with how ratings are reported. Again, not like broadcasting cable where they actually have to give numbers. Now, Netflix, they have released some numbers, but The Gray Man, which is their highest budget film of all time with a budget of $200 million, it actually just got a sequel greenlit, but this week it actually didn't rank as the highest film on Netflix. That went to Purple Heart starring Sophia Carson, which is a much lower budget than $200 million.
Listen, in this world where Disney has just surpassed Netflix in subscribers this week, that was announced during this week's call, we have here a prime example of Prey, which has an indigenous actor unknown at the helm, pulling in these outstanding numbers for a streaming network. Kind of like if you trust the role and you cast appropriately, then the people will come and watch. It's just always like people get surprised. Amazing how that works. People get surprised. They like, I can't believe an indigenous actor, opened the biggest movie in Hulu history. Yeah, give more opportunities to films and movies and actors such as this, and we will deliver every time for you. That simple.
Yeah.
But also, just want to keep in mind here, as we also look to how we're measuring success, Top Gun, now the 7th highest domestic earner of all time, passing Titanic, pretty damn significant.
Yes, and those are hard numbers. Obviously, the box office doesn't lie. Of course, in this age, it's tough for us as journalists to report the metrics because everybody is delivering these numbers or lack thereof in a different way.
True. And we are going to end on a sad note because this week we lost the iconic singer, actress, Grammy winner, Olivia Newton-John at the age of 73. She lost her battle to cancer. Tributes started pouring in for the actress, including her co-star, John Travolta, sharing simply, "I love you." From Her Danny, Sandra Dee, Grease, one of the defining musicals of all time. Olivia Newton-John has a legacy that goes before Grease and after. She was still an artist making music, touring the country, just doing everything that we loved about her. It's a big loss for the community.
Absolutely. And aside from her legacy in music and on screen, she just had such a stellar reputation. Everybody who met her, and I actually have never interviewed her, but everybody who met her, who worked with her, just had the kindest things to say, and that really radiated in recent interviews where she actually bravely spoke about her battle with cancer. But when we do talk about the legacy, it's really hard to overstate how big of a deal Olivia Newton-John is in so many homes across so many generations. I can't think of someone else off the top of my head who has a character that everybody knows and loves, and a song that everybody knows and loves with Physical. So between Grease, Physical, and all her other work, she will definitely live on screen in music, and we will greatly miss her.
Yeah, she transcends generations, so that she is going to be missed.
Absolutely. Well, our thoughts, of course, are with Olivia Newton-John's loved ones and all of her fans, and we thank you, as always, for joining us right here on The Tape.
Thanks for watching.